Thank you for joining us for the Baker and Taylor Children's and Teen Services Summer 2020 Title Talk. My name is Bobbie Bensur, and I'm joined today by my colleague Rita King, and we're representing the Children's and Teen Services Department at Baker and Taylor, fondly known as CATS. Our goal is to share highlights for babies through teens publishing from April through August of this year. We'll be organizing our presentation by trend, and some of the key ones you'll be seeing cover diversity, seasonal tie-ins, graphic novels, and STEM. Before we begin, I'd like to quickly introduce CATS. CATS was started almost 20 years ago as a comprehensive resource for children's and teen librarians. Our goal is to provide collection development, day-to-day workflow, and special initiative support to children's and teen selectors and programmers nationwide. We'll mention some of our resources and services throughout the presentation, but welcome questions and conversations afterwards. And we also encourage you to visit our website, cats.baker-taylor.com, to learn more about us. From this page, you'll be able to subscribe to our monthly Cats Meow newsletter, like our Facebook page, review staff picks and author interviews, access ready-made selection lists, and much more. This is the CATS team. Jill, Erica, Allison, Rita, and I have a combined 100 years of experience in various areas of the children's and teen book world, from publishing to book buying and selling to collection development and frontline librarianship. We love, love, love what we do, and we love, love, love to read, as do our buddies, the kiddies, Baker and Taylor. So when Rita and I are not reading Kidlit, we are snuggling with our beloved pets, who love to brag, and we love to brag about them every chance we get. So thanks for humoring us. So here we are, me with my little Hades Mercedes, who I personally think should have her very own cat calendar.
And the two things that help keep me grounded from traveling to public libraries in the western part of the United States are my dog and yoga. I just wish there was a way to combine the two more often. And now we're going to talk about our pre-binds that we have. Baker and Taylor has joined forces to create our file-bound pre-bind. Our pre-binds help books withstand heavy library use and multiple circulations with a lifetime guaranteed binding. We have popular titles and series, including Little Golden Books, Who Was, and American Girl. We have many featured pre-bind promotions where you can see up to 30% off of titles. We also started binding those pesky little phonics box sets that are a nightmare to circulate, and we have great news. For the first time ever, we are going to offer 25% off of phonics sets by Candlewick starting on April 1st. Just make sure to grab this great offer by June 30th.
I'm going to start by talking about some debuts. They'll be sprinkled throughout the presentation as well. I'm going to start with Turtle Boy. Introverted and shy, Will is not enjoying 7th grade. Kids at school bully him because of his funny-looking chin. His science teacher finds out about the turtles he spent his summer collecting from the marsh behind school and orders him to release them back into the wild. And for his bar mitzvah community service project, he asks to go to the hospital to visit RJ, an older boy struggling with an incurable disease. Will hates hospitals. At first, the boys don't get along, but as RJ shares his bucket list with Will, a friendship forms and Will realizes he needs to tackle that bucket list on his new friend's behalf before it's too late. It seems like an impossible mission, way outside Will's comfort zone, but as he completes each task with RJ's guidance, he learns that life is too short to live in a shell. I loved Will's voice and the quick pacing of this book. It's a good one for in-betweeners, those aging out of younger middle grade fiction, but too young for YA. Moving on to Cia Martinez and the Moonlight Beginning of Everything. It's been 3 years since ice raids and phone calls from Mexico and an ill-fated walk across the Sonoran. 3 years since Cia Martinez's mom disappeared. Cia wants to move on, but it's hard for her in her tiny Arizona town where people refer to her mom's deportation as an unfortunate incident. Cia knows that her mom must be dead, but every new moon, she drives into the desert anyway and lights candles to guide her mom home. Then, one night, under a million stars, Cia's life and the world is cracked wide open. A blue-lit spacecraft crashes in front of Cia's car, and it's carrying her mom, who's very much alive. As Sia races to save her mom from armed, quite possibly alien soldiers, she uncovers secrets as profound as they are dangerous in the stunning and inventive exploration of first love, family, immigration, and our vast, limitless universe. The author is a critically acclaimed poet, and this is her first novel. She wished she saw more Mexican American girls in action adventure literature, thus this book. The novel features super short chapters that are perfect for reluctant readers and those ages 12 and up. It is also getting backing from the publisher with an incredible 50,000 first print run, and it's been called Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe meets Roswell by way of Laurie Halse Anderson. Finally, there's Smooth. Intensely self-conscious about his severe acne, 10th grader Kevin is pleased to be prescribed Accutane despite its many side effects. And things definitely look up when he connects with Alex, a girl he meets at his regular blood tests after starting the drug. While he begins to invest more and more into this new relationship, he also begins to retreat from his former best friends and family, and his life starts to spiral downwards. Told in a bitingly funny first-person narration, this novel cracks with wry and wistful insights about the absurdities of high school, longing and heartbreak, and a body out of control. It'll be a surefire hit for both teen boys and reluctant readers. Smooth ultimately has a get under the skin of a 10th grader who is changing inside and out. It's being comped to Don Calumet, but slightly edgier. And it's right for older YA readers, ages 15 and up.
I love that title.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
So Whisper, Shout, Yow, just wanted to pause here and talk about this program. We all know that debut voices can't become the next great thing without the groundswell of enthusiasm and support they receive from librarians, booksellers, and gatekeepers everywhere. Because of that, Baker & Taylor has instituted a program called Whisper, Shout, Yow. The URL is shown here. This program aims to showcase forthcoming debuts by month and age level. For those of you who use our ordering platforms, TitleSource 360 and Access 360, we further isolated these titles by posting a selection list 3 times a year so you can more efficiently explore and order them.
Thanks, Bobbie. We're going to start in our diversity and inclusion trend with You Matter. Reminiscent of his 2019 picture book, Another, Christian Robinson brings us a bright and beautiful story. The illustrations feature diverse children reminding us that every person and every little thing matters, including you. This book not only has a great message for readers, but with the simple text and playful illustrations, it would make a great new storytime book as well. The small stuff, too small to see. When everyone is too busy to help, you matter. Our next title is Uncle Bobbie's Wedding. Uncle Bobbie announces at the first picnic of the summer that he is getting married. Everyone is happy, except for Chloe. You see, Bobbie was Chloe's favorite uncle, and they have a ton of fun together. And what if he doesn't have time for Chloe anymore? Chloe just wants to keep having fun with her favorite uncle, but she's afraid everything is going to change. This is an inspiring love story, and Chloe learns just what family means. Kirkus has given this new picture book a star review and called it joyous, heartwarming, sweet, and an essential update. Becoming Kid Quixote, a true story of belonging in America. This is a young reader's companion to the adult memoir. When a shy girl named Sarah Sierra first joins an after-school program in her neighborhood, she never expects to travel back in time and discover the words of Miguel de Cervantes. The group begins to reimagine Don Quixote, the story of an idealistic dreamer from Spain who traveled around trying to right the world's wrongs, as the story of a group of modern-day kids from immigrant families in Brooklyn. The stories the kids write in class become a musical play expressing the plight of today's immigrants and using Quixote as inspiration. And Sarah, once very shy, soon will play the leading role. It's perfect for fans of I Am Malala, Dear America, The Freedom Writer's Diary, and this story will inspire you to imagine, to speak up, and to sing out. Call Me American, the extraordinary true story of a young Somali immigrant. This story is also adapted from an adult memoir. Far from the United States and Somalia, Abdi's mother entertained him with folk tales and stories detailing her rural nomadic upbringing. As he grew older, there was the threat of civil war, and Abdi's family was forced to flee to safety. Through the turbulent years of war, he found solace in popular American music and films. He was nicknamed Abdi the American, and he developed a proficiency for English that connected him and his story with news outlets and radio shows, and eventually gave him a shot at winning the annual U.S. Visa lottery. He shares every part of his journey, and his courageous account reminds readers that everyone deserves the chance to build a brighter future for themselves. Kirkus has given it a starred review and called it a searing memoir that impressively remains upbeat, highly inspiring, and always educational. This is My America. This book is one not to miss. It's amazing. Definitely for your fans of Nick Stone and Jason Reynolds. It is a debut novel by Kim Johnson, who held leadership positions in social justice organizations as a teen. She's now a college administrator who maintains civic engagement through the community, while also mentoring Black students, activists, and leaders. This book explores racial injustices against innocent Black men who are criminally sentenced and the families left behind to pick up the pieces. Stay Gold. This is also another debut, and this one a coming-of-age teen love story about a transgender boy named Pony who's going stealth as his new Texas high school and cisgender girl who is drawn to him as she's also counting down the days until graduation. But Pony just wants to fly under the radar during senior year. He's tired from all the attention he got at his old school after coming out as a transgender. He's looking for a fresh start. But it's hard to live your best life when the threat of exposure lurks down every hallway and in every bathroom. And then you have Georgia, who is beginning to think there's more to life than cheerleading. She plans on keeping a low profile until graduation, which is why she's promised herself that dating is officially not going to happen. No, not at all. Then on the very first day of school, the new guy and the cheerleader lock eyes. How is Pony supposed to stay stealth when he wants to get close to a girl like Georgia? How is Georgia supposed to keep her promise when sparks start flying with a boy like Pony?
I love that one. I love the ode to the outsiders in that book. It's great. All right, so I'm going to move on to graphic novels. I'm starting here with Fox and Rabbit, which is a new series for young readers about the simple magic of true friendship. Easygoing Fox and anxious Rabbit seem like total opposites, but somehow they make the perfect pair. In this first adventure, the pair will discover some new favorite things like sunsets, dandelions, and cotton candy. And they'll face new fears like heights, swimming, and poisonous frogs. The book is comprised of 5 standalone mini-stories full of full-color art and easy-to-read panels, perfect for young readers in the 1st to 2nd grade age range. This first title is publishing late spring, and the second installment, Fox and Rabbit Make Believe, will publish this September. The Mystery of the Moon Tower. For the slightly older graphic novel reader, perhaps 3rd, 4th grade, comes the first title in a new series. 5 curious kids meet at their town summer camp and end up working together to uncover a series of strange clues that lead to legendary treasure, as well as the secrets behind the strange happenings in their town of Windrose. They call themselves the Pathfinder Society, and they're going to take you on an adventure of a lifetime. The Pathfinder Society is made up of a diverse cast of 5 fun, relatable characters. Kyle is a new kid in town who likes to draw. Vic is a cool cheerleader who's secretly a math whiz. Quiet Beth is a history buff, while Goofball Harry likes performing magic tricks with the help of his patient wingman, Nate. Every reader will find themselves in at least one of them. The series will be a good recommendation to patrons who like the Last Kids on Earth series by Max Brellier, and also makes a good reading bait for reluctant readers. It's a short 96 pages with limited text bubbles and an emphasis on the really cool full color art. This first book will pub this year, and the second will pub next spring or summer. And we're also publishing a Follett-bound edition within a month of the trade publication. Shirley and Jamila's Save Their Summer. This was one of my favorite books on the list, a real joy, and I read it in one sitting with a smile on my face the entire time. It's also a middle grade graphic novel, and I'd say it really does span audiences 4th grade through middle school. It's also a first title in a planned new series, good for fans of Rita Telgemeier and Victoria Jameson. It takes place in modern-day Toronto and features 2 10-year-old girls whose new hangouts begin out of pure convenience, but then turn into an awesome friendship for both of them. Jamila Wahid is staring down a lonely summer in a new neighborhood until she meets Shirley Bones. Sure, Shirley's a little strange, but both girls desperately need a new plan for summer, or else they'll each be sent to summer camps of doom. So they try to become friends. Then, one day, while hanging out at the basketball court, a neighborhood kid, Oliver, shows up begging for Shirley's help. His pet gecko has disappeared, and he's sure it was stolen while he and his sister were playing at the community pool. That's when Jamila discovers Shirley's secret. She's the neighborhood's best kid detective, and she's on the case. When Jamila discovers she's got some detective skills of her own, a crime-solving partnership is born. The mystery of the missing gecko turns Shirley and Jamila's summer upside down, and when their partnership hits a rough patch, they have to work together to solve the greatest mystery of all, what it means to be a friend. What I really loved about this book is the wonderfully diverse cast of characters. Both Shirley and Jamila represent different facets of diversity. Jamila, a Pakistani Canadian, and Shirley, possibly on the autism spectrum, and the cast of the neighborhood kids that they meet along the way and whom eventually become their friends also make for a really comprehensive, diverse cast. But never does it feel forced, only incidental and thoughtful. Both Jamila and Shirley have wonderful families that show them, and thereby the readers, the importance of respect, discipline, and boundaries, but also the importance of freedom and play. Also, this book was just laugh out loud funny. I especially adored Farouk, Jamila's brother, as well as the two really funny pool lifeguards, which you'll see soon enough. There's no set schedule for the second book, but this first one pubs in July. Action Presidents is a relatively new series that combines facts, jokes, and history to create a delightful comic-style introduction to American presidents. The first 2 focused on George Washington and Abe Lincoln, and in addition to Theo Roosevelt this summer, we will also see one on JFK. And then we have the first Geronimo Stilton title in the new graphic novel format. Here, Geronimo and his best friend Hercule, the private detective, head underground into the sewer world of Mouse Island to investigate New Mouse City's stinky smell. Can they save the city from the stench? So slightly older YA now. The Montague twins, The Witch's Hand, is the first in a graphic novel duology that is a perfect blend of mystery and paranormal for ages 12 and up. It's set in the 1960s, but still completely accessible to today's readers. The story features Pete and Alistair Montague, a couple of mystery-solving twins who, together with their friend Charlie, must solve the mystery of 3 local girls' disappearance. There's a little mystery and a little magic in these pages. This is Hardy Boys meets Paper Girls and is sure to be a hit with all types of readers. The second installment will publish next summer. Dancing at the Pity Party. We're familiar now with how important graphic novel memoir has been for the canon as of late, and Dancing at the Pity Party will be a good addition. Part poignant cancer memoir and part humorous reflection on life, this debut is extraordinarily comforting and engaging. From before her mother's first oncology appointment, through the stages of her cancer, to the funeral, sitting Shiva, and afterward, when she must try to make sense for her life as a motherless daughter, Tyler Fetter tells her story in this graphic novel that is full of piercing but also often funny details. Her reflections on the awkwardness, sadness, and sometimes absurdity of life will resonate and satisfy like Hyperbole and a Half or Mindy Kaling's Is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me? She decided to write this book to fill a hole she was seeing in the market when all she wanted and needed was comfort after her mother's passing. Tyler has a large following on Instagram and Tumblr for her pop culture and intersectional feminist illustrations, which have made their way into Glamour, BuzzFeed, Huffington Post, and even Mindy Kaling's Instagram account. I'm excited to see this one get into the hands of readers who need it the most. Maker & Taylor creates a comprehensive list of monthly and quarterly collection development publications, including Growing Minds, Cat Series, Steam, and this one you see here for graphic novels. The publication, which you can get via email or through TS360, features upcoming titles in the category that should be top of your radar.
And now we're going to move into girl power. First off is How Women Won the Vote. Just in time to celebrate the 100th anniversary of women's right to vote in America comes the story of two trailblazers that planned the historic Women's March of 1913, paving the way for the passage of the 19th Amendment. This book includes over 100 photographs and illustrations that put you right there in the middle of a brilliantly planned and choreographed march, demanding an amendment to the Constitution of the United States. The Women's March of 1913 was an incredible sight to behold. Over 5,000 suffragists marching, 9 bands, 4 mounted brigades, 26 floats, all marching past 250,000 spectators. Next, we have Dress Coded. Molly Frost is fed up because Olivia was yelled at for wearing a tank top, because Liza got dress coded and Molly didn't, even though they were wearing the exact same thing. And because when Jessica was pulled over by the principal and missed a math quiz, her teacher gave her an F. Because it's impossible to find shorts that are longer than your fingertips. Because girls' bodies are not a distraction. Because middle school is hard enough. And so Molly starts a podcast where girls can tell their stories, and before long, her small rebellion swells into a revolution. Because now the girls are standing up for what's right, and they're not backing down. Carrie Firestone is the author of the acclaimed young adult novels, The Loose Ends List, which Kirkus reviews, called a poignant and important story about compassion, love, and the decision to live life on your own terms. Next, we have Miss Gloria Steinem, A Life. Her strength and wisdom have inspired women for generations, but Gloria Steinem's life is more complex and compelling than most people realize. Her unconventional childhood caused her to rethink society's assumptions about the roles of women and men. This spark lit a fire in her that burned for decades as she became a leading voice in the women's movement. Gloria Steinem is perhaps the single most iconic figure associated with women's rights. Her name practically is synonymous with feminism. This is a timely biography that your YA readers will not want to miss. One of my favorites coming up, He Must Like You. Libby's having a rough senior year. Her older brother took off with all her college money and decided to bartend on a Greek island. Her dad just told her she's got to pay for college herself, and he's evicting her when she graduates so he can Airbnb her room. A drunken hookup with her coworker Kyle has left her upset and confused. So, when Perry Ackerman, serial harasser and the most handsy customer where she waitresses, pushes her over the edge, she can hardly be blamed for dumping an entire pitcher of sangria on his head. Unfortunately, Perry is also the local industry hero, the restaurant's most important customer, and just happens to be Libby's mom's boss. Now, Libby has to navigate the fallout of her outburst, find an apartment, and deal with her increasing rage at the men that have screwed up her life, and her increasing crush on the guy who truly gets her. As timely as it is timeless, He Must Like You is a story about consent, rage, and revenge, and the potential we all have to be better people.
Thanks, Rita. So now I'm going to move on to a couple romance reads, perfect for YA readers this summer if they're on the beach and need something light. Joe and Laurie is for those of us who wish Little Women had ended just a little differently. Melissa De La Cruz and Margaret Stoll bring us a new retelling, Joe and Laurie, in which Joe and Laurie may actually end up together. 1869, Concord, Massachusetts. After the publication of her first novel, Jo March is shocked to discover it's become a bestseller, and her publisher and fans demand a sequel. While pressured into coming up with a story, she goes to New York with her dear friend Laurie for a weekend of inspiration, museums, operas, and even a once-in-a-lifetime reading by Charles Dickens himself. But Laurie has romance on his mind, and despite her growing feelings, Joe's desire to remain independent leads her to turn him down, leaving him heartbroken. And when Laurie returns to Concord from college with a sophisticated new girlfriend, will Joe finally communicate her true heart's desire or lose the love of her life forever? It's okay for 12 and up. Then we have the Falling in Love montage. This debut is getting all the love of teen author endorsements and early reviews like this one from Jeff Setner. Quote, a joyous, hilarious, big-hearted book with the kind of electric, rollicking voice that makes you want to live in its pages forever, end quote. And this one from Booklist. Quote, a meet cute in the style of Jenny Han and just as sweet and cinematic as YA rom-com for fans will expect, end quote. It's also getting all the love from its publisher with a 35,000 first print run and an extensive marketing campaign. As the self-referential title implies, this is a love story. It's a love story between two teen girls set during one glorious summer where they vow not to fall into the trappings of summer love cliche, but can't help but do anything but. It's a playful rom-com perfect for any reader looking for a light love story, lesbian or otherwise, that's fun, layered, and sweet. Good for ages 15 and up.
And I'm sure, like many of our listeners, you are also, like me, ready for summer and some good summer reading. Dealing with emotions and mindfulness, the magical yet. The artwork in this book is just like its title, magical. Each of us from the day we're born is accompanied by a special companion, the yet. Can't tie your shoes? Yet. Can't ride your bike? Yet. Can't play the bassoon? Don't worry, Yet is there to help you out. Told in tight rhyme reminiscent of the great Dr. Seuss himself, this inspirational picture book is perfect for every kid who is frustrated by what they can't do yet. This yet finds a way even when you don't, and yet knows you will when you think you won't. Oh, and my next book is one of my favorites this season. Who is an Adult? I don't know if I should admit this or not, but it may have taken me a little bit longer than it will you to figure out who this An Adult is. So who is An Adult? Why is she such a big deal? I'm hoping one day to tell her how I feel. I'd say, hey, An Adult, what about me? Why can't I touch all the things that I see? So many fun things seem to be just for you. But I think you should share. I like those things too. This clever play on words will have readers questioning who an adult is, why they enjoy the simplistic rhymes, adorable art, and a relatable young protagonist. That's My Carrot, a delightful new read out loud from the acclaimed author illustrator of A Book of Sleep, comes a silly tale about a garden rivalry. It includes one giant carrot and bunnies in construction vehicles. When two rabbits find a giant carrot growing between their yards, they do the only thing that makes sense. They argue over whose carrot it is. One rabbit brings a shovel to dig it out, and the other rabbit brings a spade. Next comes the bulldozers and backhoes and cranes. And when the dust settles, the carrot is gone. Now it will be up to the rabbits to join forces and find the giant carrot and build a friendship along the way. The Three Little Yogis and the Wolf Who Lost His Breath. This is a spin on a classic fairy tale. Adults may find this book useful in teaching children how to deal with strong emotions, and children will enjoy trying out the various positions and modes of breathing. Once upon a time, there lived a wolf who lost his huff and his puff. It was a big, bad problem. One morning, the wolf came upon a peaceful little yogi doing sun salutations. The wolf wanted to huff and puff and blow her hut down in a big pile of straw, but instead the yogi suggested, "Let's meditate on that." Soon the wolf met a second yogi and then a third. He may have lost his huff and puff, but with the help of 3 new yogi friends, can the wolf find his breath? Catching thoughts. Have you ever had an unwelcome thought that you just couldn't get rid of no matter how hard you tried to push it away? In Catching Thoughts, a girl is plagued by an unwanted thought. No matter what she does, ignore it, yell at it, cry about it, the thought won't go away. Frustrated and discouraged, she finally looks that bad thought in the face and says, "Hello." And at last, she is able to notice other more beautiful, positive thoughts all around her. As she catches hold of new thoughts, the girl discovers she can fill her mind with whatever she chooses. For every child who has been weighed down by sadness or anxiety, this story teaches kids how to acknowledge unwanted thoughts, show them compassion, and actively replace them with positive thoughts instead. This is a thoughtful new story that teaches readers how to practice mindfulness, focusing on thoughts that bring beauty, joy, and calm into their lives.
My goodness, I loved all of those picture books, Rita. I particularly love that new Ilsana book, That's My Carrot. I mean, bunnies, construction vehicles. Just love everything he does. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to highlight a couple of titles worth facing out and showcasing during different seasonal and holiday opportunities throughout the late spring and summer. Starting off here with a really cute Mother's Day title that many of you and your patrons may relate to. One of life's greatest ironies is that children fight sleep while their parents ache for it, right? Carla Clark's playful picture book touches on this utterly relatable theme with humor and heart, providing a story mothers and children will both delight in. So silly. Rhyming text makes for a great read aloud as reader and listener wind down for bedtime. For Father's Day, we have Papa, Bring Me the World. Most parents drive a car or ride a bus or train to work, but not Lulu's Papa. He navigates mountains, deserts, and oceans, each time returning home with pockets full of treasures. There's an ancient calculator from China, a musical mbra from Zimbabwe, and special games from Sumatra. But the best treasures are special stories that Papa tells when he comes home. Tales of playing peekaboo with rare birds in the Andes and riding dragons in the Irish Sea. This long-distance love story between parent and child celebrates inclusivity, imagination, and the richness of global cultures. For fans of The Day You Begin by Jacqueline Woodson and Drawn Together by Min Lei and Dan Santag. In Time for Earth Day is the first in a new series from DK that combines fiction and nonfiction with action and adventure. This first title, The Secret Explorers and the Lost Whales, taps into eco-awareness, conservation, and sustainability. The Secret Explorers, a group of brilliant kids, come together from all four corners of the globe to fix problems, solve mysteries, and gather knowledge all over the planet. In The Lost Whales, marine life expert Connor needs to use his underwater expertise and the help of his friends to save a pod of humpback whales that have lost their way. This series is perfect for emerging new readers, especially those who love series like Magic Tree House. It's packed with fun illustrations and facts about humpback whales, marine life, and how climate change is affecting the oceans. The second installment, called The Comet Collision, will pub simultaneously this summer, followed by 2 additional titles this fall. Continuing on with Earth Day is Planet SOS, a neat way to introduce the concept of eco-awareness and helping the planet to young readers. In this nonfiction title, real-life environmental threats are described using the metaphor of monsters, and readers are taught ways to defeat these monsters. Published to coincide with the 50th anniversary of Earth Day this April. It's presented in a friendly and humorous way, with each monster giving readers an introduction to one of today's environmental menaces, from global warming to plastic pollution, e-waste to deforestation. Kids will learn how to defeat each monster by making small changes in everyday life to reduce their carbon footprint. Moving on to summer, glorious summer. Acclaimed husband and wife team Kevin Henkes and Laura Dronzak's Summer Song is their 4th and final seasonal picture book. It features stunning summery paintings and a lyrical text that will work together to introduce concepts of summer. This is an engaging companion to the best-selling When Spring Comes, In the Middle of Fall, and Winter is Here, which have received a combined 10-starred reviews. Summer Song is ideal for story time, seasonal curriculums, and bedtime reading.
I love this book, by the way. So
The Little Blue Cottage. One of my favorite picture books of all time is The Little House, and this title gives me the same cozy, nostalgic feeling I get when I read that book. It's perfect for any family who has a special place they return to year after year. It's particularly suited for summer reading, but is able to be enjoyed all year round as the story goes through the cycle of the seasons. It's about this little girl who returns to a beloved blue cottage year after year and how things change yet stay the same over the years. It's lovely. I'm a sucker for middle grade historical fiction, and The Summer We Found the Baby did not disappoint. On the morning of the dedication of the new children's library in their town, 11-year-old Julie Sweet and her 6-year-old sister Martha find a baby in a basket on the library steps. At the same time, 12-year-old Bruno Ben Ali is on his way to the train station to catch the 9:15 into New York City. He's on an important errand for his brother, who's a soldier overseas in World War II. But when Bruno spies Julie, the same Julie who hasn't spoken to him for 16 days, heading away from the library with a baby in her arms, he has to follow her. Holy everything, he thinks, Julie Sweet is a kidnapper. Of course, the truth is much more complicated than the children know in this heartwarming and beautifully textured family story by award-winning author Amy Hess. Told in 3 distinct voices, each with a different take on the events, the novel captures the moments and emotions of a life-changing summer. It's good for grades 4 through 6. Too early to see reviews for this one, but I anticipate many. And then closing out summer titles is Saltwater Secrets, which has already received positive reviews from Kirkus, SLJ, and Booklist. Stella and Josie live for their summers at the boardwalk. Josie lives in Australia most of the year. Her half-sister Stella lives in New Jersey. Every year, they come together for a beach vacation with their dad and to make more memories. The real excitement for them is their secret special place under the boardwalk where they hide their sister's scrapbook, adding memories from each summer. But this summer feels different. Josie isn't the same. She's turned into one of those popular girls that Stella can't stand, and now their special place under the boardwalk has been discovered by the owners of the newest store, the Smoothie Factory. Not only have the owners of the Smoothie Factory discovered the cove, they're exploiting the natural habitat and endangering marine life and everyone at the beach. It's up to Josie and Stella to figure out how to stop their beloved boardwalk from disappearing for good. It's a great sister story, a lovely summertime read, and also a great addition to the many middle grade books of realistic fiction we've been seeing lately, which include that have a science and environmental activism slant.
Love it. Next, we'll talk about the election season. Froggy for president. Froggy is running for president, class president that is, but so is Froggelina. Wearing a long presidential style tie, Froggy presents his platform, which includes 10 snack times per school day and recess all day long. But Froggelina has a platform too, a search party for lost things, a lunch sharing program, and a talent show to benefit the school library. Which candidate would you choose? Next, we have Sofia Valdez in The Vanishing Vote. Just in time for the 2020 election, the best-selling chapter book series continues with the newest questionnaire. It's time for grade 2 to get a class pet, and she wants the kids to participate in choosing which one. After all, they will all have to share the responsibility of caring for it. The class narrows it down to 2 options, Team Turtle and Team Bird. Sophia is named the election commissioner in charge of overseeing a fair and honest election between the 2 teams. There's a class-wide campaign complete with posters, articles, and speeches, and then it's time for the election. But when the votes are counted, there's a tie, and 1 vote is missing. How will the class break the tie? And what happened to the vanishing vote? It's up to Sophia and the questionnaires to restore democracy. The voting booth, make it count. From Stonewall award-winning author Brandy Colbert comes an all-in-one-day love story perfect for fans of The Sun Is Also Star. This book is romantic and triumphant. The voting booth is proof that you can't sit around waiting for the world to change, but some things are just meant to be.
We already talked a little bit about some summary titles earlier in the presentation, and I'll now be talking about titles that work well into fantasy, as well as those that align well with this year's National Collaborative Summer Reading Theme, which revolves around magic and magical creatures and fantasy. I'll start with this adorable picture book, Once Upon a Unicorn's Horn, and I'm just gonna pause there for a second on the cover. Anything look odd to you, Rita? You see it? You guys see it out there? It all began once upon a magical forest where an imaginative little girl named June discovered tiny horses with soft fur and sparkly tails learning how to fly, all in her own backyard. But there was one poor, sad horsey, spoiler alert, it's actually a bunny, that couldn't fly at all. And of course, June was determined to help. The story features sweet, hip, loving, relatable parents who empower their child to actively solve her dilemma. Themes of friendship, sharing, and kindness will resonate with readers, as will the story's central idea of finding magic within yourself. There will be a companion picture book, Once Upon a Dragon's Fire, coming in spring 2021, and this book will be a natural recommendation for any patrons who enjoyed Uni the Unicorn and titles like it.
I also adore and love this picture book.
Isn't it so cute? I love the illustrations.
Yeah.
You Don't Want a Dragon. From beloved author Amy Dykman comes the follow-up to the best-selling You Don't Want a Unicorn. In You Don't Want a Dragon, our protagonist learns the hilarious mishaps that come with adopting a dragon. I'm sure this still won't deter our readers. I'm sure they'll still want a dragon of their own, but I'm sure they'll love this anyway. Oh my gosh, this is one of my favorites. Dave the Unicorn. At Unicorn School, you get your own unicorn best friend. You go on magical quests together. There's glitter. There's even more glitter. Mira can hardly contain her excitement as her fellow students are paired with their unicorns. Darcy is assigned the statuesque Star, who has a beautiful shimmering coat. Raheem is matched with Brave, whose every step reverberates like thunder. And Mira is paired with Dave. Dave loves donuts. He doesn't follow directions very well, and he farts a lot. Mira is a little disappointed, but she soon realizes Dave is unlike his fellow unicorns in another way, too. He's a little smarter than they are. And when a school trip goes awry, the only way to save the day is for Mira to embrace her unexpected unicorn best friend. I don't think I've ever laughed so hard than I did reading this new book from this new series. It's ideal for, I'd say, 2nd, 3rd grade. They're starting with 2 this summer, and a 3rd will publish this fall. Tilly and the Lost Fairy Tales. This is the 2nd magical book wandering adventure in the nationally best-selling Pages and Company series, featuring Tilly Pages as she journeys to France to wander inside a peculiar book of fairy tales. Perfect for fans of Inkheart, The Land of Stories, and Story Thieves, soon to be a major television series as well. From the acclaimed author of Codename Verity comes a magical young middle grade novel with fairy tale elements that will enchant its readers. When Abby's father marries Max and Louie's mom, their family starts over again. Abby suddenly finds herself the middle child, expected to share far too much, especially with grubby little Louis. Then they move into an eerie, ivy-covered house big enough for all of them. But for the children, strange things start to happen in that house, and soon Abby, Max, and Louis must uncover the secrets of their new home before it's too late. Incendiary. This knockout YA fantasy set in a world inspired by Inquisition-era Spain is an epic tale of love and revenge, perfect for fans of Sabaa Tahir and Sarah J. Maas. Renata was only a child when she was kidnapped by the king's justice and brought to the luxurious palace of Andalusia. As a memory thief, the rarest and most feared of the magical Moria, Renata was used by the crown to carry out the king's wrath, a siege that resulted in the deaths of thousands of her own people. Now Renata is one of the Whisperers, rebel spies working against the crown. When Des, the commander of her unit, and the boy she's grown to love, is taken captive by the notorious Principe Dorado, Renata must return to Andalusia and complete Des's top secret mission herself. Can she keep her cover, even as she burns for vengeance against the brutal, enigmatic prince? Her life and the fate of Moria depend on it. This is, I'm not usually, I don't read as much fantasy as I do realistic fiction, and I just was sucked into this. And I think that it's okay for ages 12 and up.
And I love the cover of this book.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Cinderella is Dead. This is a kick-butt retelling of Cinderella with a queer twist. It's 200 years after Cinderella found her prince, and the happy fairy tale is over. Teen girls are now required to appear at the annual ball, where the men of the kingdom select wives based on a girl's display of finery. If a suitable match is not found, the girls not chosen are never heard from again. 16-year-old Sophia would much rather marry her best friend Erin than parade in front of suitors. At the ball, she makes the desperate decision to flee and finds herself hiding in Cinderella's mausoleum. There, she meets Constance, the last known descendant of Cinderella and her stepsisters. Together, they vow to bring down the king once and for all, and in the process, they learn that there's more to Cinderella's story than they ever knew. For now, this is a standalone, and it's also been dubbed okay for ages 12 and up. Obviously, witches and dark thrillers have been all the rage in teen media lately, with shows like Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Light as a Feather, and Riverdale having their moment, and a slew of witchy books creating a revived trend in teen lit. This debut, A Wicked Magic, can be added to that list. It's a fun, cinematic, wonderfully written standalone about two teen girls, Liz and Dan, who accidentally get involved with magic and are turned into witches. During a spell gone wrong, Liz's boyfriend is snatched away by an evil entity and presumed dead. When another teenager disappears, the girls know it's no coincidence and that they must have awakened something extra evil and extra dark. Can Liz and Dan save these victims and their friendship in the process? Again, the writing here was fantastic. It was moody and atmospheric and heart-pounding and creepy in the very best way. I personally loved that it's written as a dual narrative, but also in a third-person past tense POV, something you don't really see all that often in teen fiction. This is more appropriate for ages 15 and up. Whether it's bestsellers or hot titles to look out for, or specialty selection lists like those for summer reading, high-low material, diversity, current trends, seasonal opportunities, and much more, we're constantly creating and updating ready-made lists for you to review and use for your ordering process. They can be found on TS360 and can be easily integrated into your workflow, converted into ebook lists, or run through our award-winning ESP ranking tool to meet your individual needs. Please just let Rita and I know if you have any questions or need direction as to where to find them.
And if your library provides paperback and board book summer reading prizes for your summer reading participants, Baker & Taylor now has a program that can help you get great quality titles to kids in your community. If you plan to purchase a large number of books to give away, you are eligible for a special discount. Depending on what part of the country you live in, contact Bobbie or I for details. We're going to move into our STEM trend. And first up is My Rainy Day Rocket Ship, an indoor space adventure to another galaxy where the sky is his only limit. A stormy afternoon and an order from mom to stay inside are no match for this little dreamer, who uses everyday household items and his super duper imagination to whip up a trip around the universe he won't soon forget. Dream out loud and boldly go where the sky is your only limit. And I love the illustrations in this book. Invisible Nature, A Secret World Beyond Our Senses. The first book for younger children to explain the hidden forces of sight, sound, touch, and smell that lie beyond our senses, but affect our lives and are used by many different kinds of animals. We all know about the five senses, but there are sounds no human can hear, scents no one can smell, colors our eyes cannot detect, waves of radiation that pass right through us without us even noticing, but known and used by many different animal species. They have their dangers as well as their uses, but are vital to all life on Earth. This book takes us into the unseen secret world with a colorful display and shows the impact on human and animal life from things like microwaves and more. Every Second. This is a fun new picture book that takes numbers and statistics and makes them fun and accessible to children and grown-ups. Every second, somewhere across the globe, an airplane takes off and another one lands. 430 quarts of ice cream are eaten. 200,000 text messages are sent. This book of remarkable facts reveals the incredible things that happen every second in our world. The DNA book Discover What Makes You, You. This book introduces children ages 7 to 9 to the amazing science of DNA, genetics, and what makes you, you. It's inside every living plant and animal, From the tiniest seed to the person standing next to you. How much do you know about DNA? This book gives children an in-depth look at DNA and its role in all living things, from why we have different colored eyes to why we age. And now we have every Science Academy series. From the #1 science author for kids, there will be 6 total in the series. Chris Ferry offers a kid-friendly introduction to the science of flight in this first installment of his new Everyday Science Academy series. With real-world and practical examples, young readers will have a firm grasp of scientific and mathematical concepts to help answer many of their why questions. And who can resist a good National Geographic Kids Almanac? This is one new for 2021. The latest installment of the New York Times best-selling almanac features brand new amazing animal stories, explorer profiles, and outrageous attractions that kids know and love. Plus more of the incredible inventions, awesome games, and fresh challenges for curious kids who want to learn all about the world and everything that's in it. Due to popular demand, Baker & Taylor now has makerspace items just for you. We have Lincoln Logs, Legos, and affordable robots that your patrons can use at the library or check out and do with their dogs, or kids at home. It's up to you. And each item comes with a simple mark record for you. We have a dedicated microsite to the items, but you can also find them all listed in TS360. Just let us know if you have any questions on how to order them.
Julie seems to be enjoying those robots, Rita.
I know. Here we'll play the little thing to show you how excited he is that his dog is moonwalking. Next titles from beloved authors. Some of my favorites are on this slide, just to mention a few. How to Read to a Grandma and Grandpa, and The One and Only Bob by Catherine Applegate, and Rick by Alex Gino. Oh, I almost forgot. The #1 top book on this slide for me is by Sarah Pennypacker. She is one of my favorite authors, author of Pax, if you remember that story. And now here comes Here in the Real World.
Reading that new one by Lauren Walk right now, Echo Mountain. It's really good. I'm also partial because I live in Maine and it takes place in Maine. So. And here are some of the new YA titles from beloved authors and series publishing this summer, including the highly anticipated prequel to Susan Collins' Hunger Games series, as well as a new title from Julie Murphy called Faith, which is a 2-part story featuring a plus-size superhero. Really cool. And also a follow-up called Burn Our Bodies Down from Rory Power. You'll know her from, she's the author of last year's best-selling debut, Wilder Girls. If there's an author or a series that circulates well at your library and you want to make sure new titles do not fall through the cracks, reach out to Rita and me to learn more about Baker & Taylor's Cats Automatically Yours program, where you can put authors and series either onto standing order or in a tailored notification profile.
All right, our favorite part.
Yes, we're going to end the presentation with just a couple of our we love all the books we've talked about today, but just a couple of our personal favorite picks and maybe didn't fall into a specific trend. I'm going to start with Alligator, a really adorable older picture book. Though he's scared at first, a boy who encounters an alligator in the woods soon realizes that all the alligator wants is companionship and leftovers, and the two become good friends. But the mayor of the boys' town simply won't allow it, and the townspeople agree with the mayor at first. But once they see how kind and helpful the alligator is, they decide the alligator should be allowed to stay, and they all band together to change the mayor's mind. This is a funny, whimsical, and heartwarming picture book tale that offers a playful way to engage children with issues of injustice and civil disobedience. And I am just so charmed by this art and color palette. I think it's one of those books you can just cherish and look at over and over and over again. speaking of again and again, I am a huge E. Lockhart fan and geek out over all of her books, and this one is no exception. So, after a near fatal family catastrophe involving her younger brother and opioids, Adelaide Bookwald moves to a boarding school with her English teacher father and distracts herself during the school year with new friends and a first love. 8 months later, the summer before her, Adelaide is still reeling from her brother's addiction and road to recovery, and saddened further as the fresh breakup-y of that first love, Mikey Double L. But the summer is wild with possibility. She'll fall in and out of love 1,000 times over, even if it's only in her mind, and soon she'll begin to confront the secrets she keeps, her ideas about love and family and art, and the weird grandiosity of the human mind. Lockhart sets this novel in the present tense, but includes psychological, multi-universe entries. So there'll be a scene, and Adelaide will break the fourth wall and contemplate different variations of how the scene could have played out. It's really cool, really brilliant. And on top of this, the writing is beautiful and candid and quirky in that way that's so stylistic of E. Lockhart. She smartly intersperses prose and poetry and stream of consciousness all into one really unique book. This is self-exploration of feelings that makes Adelaide a fascinating character for readers to puzzle out and allows an understanding of how anger can change to acceptance and how love can prevail. Though there's some high-level content here, it's not really very exploitative, so the audience level of age 12 and up seems appropriate. But I guess you'll just have to read it and see. I highly recommend it. Can't recommend it enough. It's already gotten a starred review from Kirkus, and I expect many, many more.
It's also one of my favorites as well. I'm glad you have it on yours.
Awesome.
So, for those of you who don't know me well, I love a great laugh out loud picture book. And this one does not disappoint. Rat faces a scary, squirmy new challenge and finds out what makes him feel brave and the sweet and slimy companion to Rat, the cutest in the world. And Smart George, another George book. Finally, here is the much anticipated sequel to Bark George. Follow along with the beloved dog as he learns numbers and math during an imaginative dream. Of course, it is a laugh out loud read for children. That's why I picked it.
Katz & Baker & Taylor is honored to work with all of you, and we're proud to offer solutions for your library during every point in the life cycle of a book and media product. From collection development using our platforms TS360 and Access 360, our notification services, or our collection development tools like Collection HQ and ESP, Evidence-Based Selection Planning, to sustainably weeding and refreshing your collection with our acclaimed leasing program and new sustainable shelves offering. We're also committed to helping you increase community engagement through our pop-up library, community share program, and much more. And we're just looking forward to our continued work with all of you to support your community. If you have any questions at all about the books or anything else discussed, please email Rita or myself at the email shown. We'd also love to hear your general feedback, and we'll actually be raffling off a signed copy of Rebecca Stead's When You Reach Me, now in its 10th anniversary, if you can believe it, from those of you who reach out before the end of April. We really look forward to hearing from you. Thank you again for listening in, and happy, happy reading.
Thank you.